hit some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots on goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some freaking money. It's time for Puck It with Jo. Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. It's time for Puck It with Jo over here on SportsGrid TV on X. I hope everyone's day is starting off fantastic. We got a loaded day out there on the ice with us coming up against the break for the Four Nations. Now, there will be 2 games out there on the ice tomorrow. We'll get that video. We'll be live here tomorrow at noon Eastern for a quick show for sure. But let's jump into today's games. Now, last night's games, we had some crazy ones. The Kings were able to win in a higher scoring game. Lots of higher scoring games last night than I expected. And I do think we've got home dogs barking today. I also think we've got a couple of these games that should nicely go over that total. I'm going to alt one of these games to an alt over 6.5. And I think we got a couple of unders. So really looking forward to the matchups out there on the ice tonight. We're going to kick it off with the New Jersey Devils taking on the Montreal Canadiens. First, I just want to say thank you guys all for being here. Good afternoon. Some good anytime goal scorers today. Yeah, let's get some money on goal scorers. You're coming in, Cole Caulfield, Keller, Brandon Point, Stamkos, Boldy. Yeah, it should be a great day for that Blues and Flyers. A puck line. Timothy, I don't hate that. That's for sure. An Irish King, let's get going. So happy Saturday to you, Kev. Okay, here we go. The New Jersey Devils taking on the Montreal Canadiens. Puck is dropping here pretty quickly, 109 Eastern. We do see the Montreal Canadiens as a home dog, and the Devils with Jake Allen, the dogs might be barking in this matchup. Plus 128 for the Montreal Canadiens. Total of 5.5 in this one, minus 130 to the over. That's a lot of juice to the over. I think this is the game that you can alt to the over 6.5 and get that plus money. I do think this is a 4-3 style win out of one of these teams. We look at both of these teams, and Sam Montague just hasn't been the goaltender I wanted. And when we look at Jake Allen versus the Montreal Canadiens, 9 games played, he's gone 4-5 with a 3.23 goals against average and an 885 save percentage. So I don't have the faith in Jake Allen to limit what he's going to see in between the pipes today. I think he's going to be hit hard by the Montreal Canadiens. This team is pretty solid at home, 13-10-4 on the season, sitting 7th in the Atlantic. I know it's not the best record here. They're off that loss to the Kings on Wednesday, 6-3. But they were still able to put up 3 goals on the LA Kings. And I know we can see the Devils locked down defensively, but I just don't trust Jake Allen. They're off that loss to the Vegas Golden Knights at home on Thursday. So one off-road game here. This is the first game home off a road trip for the Montreal Canadiens, but they went 1-2 on that road trip, and they are one of the teams that has to play tomorrow. So tomorrow they'll be at home here versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think it's worth a look here on Montreal. I do think this would be a great live betting situation if we do see the Devils go up in this game. The Devils have been so strong versus Montreal as well. So they've won 5 of the last 6 meetings. So when we're only getting the Montreal Canadiens at plus 128, it's not a lot of value there, right? Like if they were coming in at plus 170, I'd be all over this pregame line. I do think another way to look at Montreal pregame is to look at the team total. Team total coming in at 2.5 minus 126 to the over. I expect them to be able to put up a couple goals right away in this game. First period over 1.5 for both of these teams to score as well, I think is a solid look because of Jake Allen. So Montreal over 2.5 goals. You got to lay the juice at minus 126. The Devils get up first. I'm coming back in on Montreal when I get value. And I do think the plus 1.5 is probably the way I want to come in on Montreal. Plus 128 on the money line is too risky. And we know that the puck line, it's out of betting range at plus 1.5 at minus 205. If we're able to get Montreal at plus 1.5 at minus 110 or better odds, I will be signing up for Montreal then. I do think it's a 1-goal game. And this one goes over the 5.5. I think you can ult it to over 6.5 for the last 5 meetings have gone over the total, and 5 of the last 7 in Montreal have seen those higher scoring games. Now, Jack Hughes has been so strong when he's not in the penalty box for the Devils here at being able to get those goals. 5 of the last 6 road games, we have seen Jack Hughes light the lamp. So Jack Hughes here, we know on the other side, Cole Caulfield, he's got to come out playing every single game for Montreal to be able to get the win. And I expect those goals, and Nick Suzuki and Patrick Laine. So those would be your 3 playmakers over there. Yeah, lean the over. I do think this one goes over that total. You see 6 dogs. Yeah, there are dogs definitely barking, and I love the home dogs because we're going to look at another one here. The Tampa Bay Lightning taking on the Detroit Red Wings. I cannot believe the price we're getting here for the Detroit Red Wings. The Detroit Red Wings plus 128 at home. This team has been hot. They've won their last 7 games. Tuesday, they had the shootout win versus the Seattle Kraken 5-4. And yeah, not the best. And I know they did that road trip. They're at home. They're taking on Andre Vasilevsky and the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Tampa Bay Lightning have won their last 2. Thursday's win for them was versus the Senators 5-1 at home. First night of a back-to-back, the Lightning will face Montreal tomorrow. They're not going to look ahead to the Montreal Canadiens. It will be a battle of the Atlantic both days, with Detroit sitting 5th in the Atlantic and Montreal sitting 7th and the Tampa Bay Lightning sitting 3rd. But I look at Tampa in their last 10. They've gone 5-4-1. Okay, we've got a Red Wings team that's rolled hot, won their last 7, sitting 15-11-2 at home. Sign me up for that plus money at plus 128 for the Detroit Red Wings here at home. Dylan Larkin and Lucas Raymond have been just on complete fire for this team, and those are your playmakers if you're looking to bet anytime goals for those points tonight. Now, Alex Leon has been confirmed 100% in net here for the Red Wings. Vasilevsky's still waiting on confirmation, but we should see him. These 2 teams have split their series so far. 2 games. The last game, we did see Detroit get the win in January 2-0. They got the shutout win, and then Tampa won that first meeting. So I do think the home dogs, give me the Detroit Red Wings in this one. Utah. The Utah Hockey Club are back in action today. They're plus 164 dog here on the road versus the Carolina Hurricanes. And is this dog barking? We've already gone with a lean on Montreal, but love for Detroit. What about the Utah Hockey Club? They're plus 164, minus 200, $2 favorite for the Carolina Hurricanes, total of 5.5. Minus 124 to the under, plus 102 to the over. Now, you've got to look at what Carolina is able to do at home. Rod Brind'Amour has this team absolutely firing offensively at home. They're averaging 3.74 goals per game at home this season. And I think they're just second behind the Columbus Blue Jackets, I think, are averaging just a little bit higher at home this season. So we've got Utah rolling in here off of 2 wins. They got that win on Thursday on the road versus the Columbus Blue Jackets 3-2 in OT. And then we're seeing Carolina trending in the opposite direction. They've lost their last 3. They lost that last game to the Wild out there on the road 2-1. This is their last game. Utah will play the Capitals on Sunday. So Utah has one more game tomorrow before the break. Carolina, their last game here, sitting second in the Metro, sitting nice and comfortably in that spot, 26-1 at home this season. That home record is so strong that it's really hard to step in front of Carolina. They are 7-1-1 this season, wearing their alternate red uniforms, which I heard they're wearing today. You look at these weird trends that you're able to find out there with even their uniforms that they're wearing, and it's kind of crazy people buy into things like this. But if you're a buyer into the red alternate uniforms for this team for Carolina, well, they're going to be wearing them today, and that has been a strong suit for them. I swear, you can make a case for any team looking at trends, looking at different angles that you want to build out there, but I think these teams are just trending in that opposite direction right now. Utah's hot, Carolina's not, and I'm going to roll with the hotter hand here in the Utah Hockey Club. 5th in the Central, 14-10-3 on the road this season. Give me Utah plus 1.5. The problem with the plus 1.5 on that puck line is the juice. The juice right now on that is coming in at minus 170. The juice is flying through the roof. It was minus 140. And less than an hour ago, you guys, it was minus 140. I do think it was plus 190 on the money line. They're now plus 164. We're losing so much value on the Utah Hockey Club. I'm willing to just bite on them. Give me Utah plus 164. I know Carolina is the stronger team here, and it seems crazy to step in front of them. But you look, Utah won that last meeting back in November 4-1. I do think this is an over style game. I'm looking for Utah to come out, and Dylan Guenther getting back in the lineup on Tuesday, you guys, has been fire here. He was off for a month, and he came out like he hadn't missed a single beat out there on the ice. So Dylan Guenther scored at least 1 goal in Utah's last 2 games. So he has been fire returning from injury. Look for Utah to roll with that momentum. Dylan Guenther, Clayton Keller, Logan Cooley. You know you have the playmakers on this team that can give a team, even though Carolina is so strong, a hard time. So what I'm really hoping, you guys, is for Carolina to go up first and then Utah to fight their way back into this game, and then us to get better value on that money line and the puck line. Going into this game, I'll do a half unit sprinkle on the money line. Of course, I'm not touching that puck line. It's just too juicy right now. But if the Canes come into this game, get a goal first, I will be coming back in on Utah plus the 1.5 on that puck line when I'm getting plus money on it. And I do think we'll get plus money. I think this one is not an overtime game, an over game, over the 5.5 coming in. Let me just make sure no odds have moved on that. The over 5.5 is actually giving us better value at minus 102. I expect Utah to be able to put up at least 3 goals. Now, this could be a 4-3 win for the Carolina Hurricanes, and that's why it will be a half unit sprinkle on the money line right now, and then coming back on the other half on that puck line once it's plus money live in this game. So at worst, it's a 1-goal game in my opinion. Otherwise, we do see Utah maybe pull off the upset right before we go into the break. So the Vegas Golden Knights taking on the Boston Bruins. This is a really interesting one, and you guys, I'm making another case for the underdog. If you don't like betting underdogs and you like going with favorites, you're just going to absolutely hate me today. I'm not going to lie. It's like those days where I'm rolling with the favorites and not the underdog, and those days always kill me. If I'm telling you I'm loving a lot of favorites, those are the days where we get absolutely slammed by the books. I'm not buying into it today in this matchup here. Vegas is a minus 172 favorite. No way in hell am I touching them here. The Boston Bruins at plus 142 and a total of 5.5. The 5.5 juice to the over at minus 120. Now, Boston has been struggling to score. We know this. Samsonov in goal here for the Vegas Golden Knights. They played strong, and he's been strong in net. And then we have Swayman on the other side here. Now, we have Boston off the loss to the New York Rangers. They lost on Wednesday 3-2. And Vegas off the win from over the Devils on Thursday, 3-1. The Vegas Golden Knights are sitting second in the Pacific, 13, 11, and 3 on the road, though. Not an outstanding road record. This is a team that we trust more at home in the Fortress, but they've let a couple of weird games slip in the Fortress as well. Boston sitting 6th in the Atlantic. Look at their home record, you guys. 18, 8, and 3 at home on the season. Why the heck would I touch a Vegas team that's only 13, 11, and 3 on the road this season? The Vegas Golden Knights in the last 11 meetings, are you ready for this one, versus Boston? They've only won 3 of the last 11 versus the Boston Bruins. I can't touch the Vegas Golden Knights tonight. Noah Hanifin has been strong for Vegas versus the Boston Bruins. So if you're really looking for a playmaker out there for Vegas, I do think this one trends towards that under. We have so many reasons why this one should stay under that total. But again, I can't bite on the under in this game. I do think Boston's going to be able to hit Samsonov strong in this one. So I would look for this one to be a 4-2 style win for the Boston Bruins, which pushes us over the total of 5.5. But I think that 4-2 is a hard come by 4-2 because I think it results from an empty netter. So caution with the total either way, but I do think the value is all over the Boston Bruins, especially at plus 142. Now, this is one of the lines that has been moving in the opposite direction as the day goes on, as more money comes in here for Vegas. I got the Boston Bruins at plus 134. So if you're jumping on them live now on FanDuel at plus 142, you are getting the better of the number. So bet live as the Canes score first, then Utah plus 1.5. Exactly, Kev, what I am thinking in that matchup. Yeah, if you guys can hit that like button, I would so appreciate it. Thanks, Kev, for the reminder to everyone. So let's jump into the next game here. So that was a 3:30 Eastern game. 7 p.m., the late games start. Now, the Ottawa Senators versus the Florida Panthers. This is like a chalk battle. Brady versus Matthew. These teams get scrappy versus each other out there, you guys. These are hard-hitting physical games between these two teams, and you got the brothers going up against each other. But what I love more in this one is the storyline between the goaltending and the goaltending versus each team. I really do think this is going to be war out there on the ice. Whoever stays out of the box gets the win here, because we know power plays can convert for both of these teams. We know the kills can as well. This is going to be a game where we see those penalties flying if they let things get out of control. So the team that stays out of the box will get the win. I am not going to take a side here. I do think the under 5.5 is exactly how you want to play this game. I also think the under 1.5 in the first period at -116 and the overtime bet at +310. This has to be a back and forth battle in my mind. When we look at Ullmark here for the Ottawa Senators, 13-3-1 in 17 games versus the Florida Panthers in his career. He's got a .238 goals against average and a .931 save percentage. Looking at him in the last 4 games versus the Florida Panthers, he hasn't allowed more than 2 goals in those last 4. So in each of those last 4, hasn't allowed more than 2 goals. He's been standing on his head versus the Florida Panthers. Now, this is a Senators team that is averaging 4 goals per game in their last 5 games out there on the ice. Will they be able to hit Bobrovsky? Because we also look at the Panthers. This team is averaging just over 4 in their last 4. So both of these teams have been finding the back of the net, lighting that lamp. But then we look at Bobrovsky as well. 15-7-3 in 23 games against the Ottawa Senators in his career, with a 2.13 goals against average and a .921 save percentage. So both outstanding numbers versus these teams. And when we look at the last 4 for Bobrovsky here, in 2 of those 4, you guys, he was able to record a shutout. So 2 of the last 4 games versus the Ottawa Senators, we've seen Bobrovsky score a shutout. But what happened in the other 2? Well, the other 2, he allowed 2 goals in both of those. So we definitely, in my opinion, have to see that low-scoring game, the goaltenders dueling it out between each other, and the grind-them-out physical game. Now, we know the Ottawa Senators have really trended to the under this season, and I do think that is the way to go. The under 5.5, I think, is a solid way to go. That's coming in. Let me just double check. No movement on that. At +100. So we have seen a little bit of movement. We've got 152 +152 for the Sens and -184 for the Florida Panthers. But I think you definitely look under 5.5 -102. Your only fear there is it's a 3-2 game, which gets pushed to overtime. It's another reason I like the under 1.5 in the first period at -116, even so much more, and the overtime bet at +310. Now, if you want to take it another way, the Florida Panthers team total under 3.5, because I do think this is, a 2-1, 3-2 win at the most, so 3-2 coming in OT. The Florida Panthers team total under 3.5 is -140. For you to look at the Ottawa Senators team total, it's 2.5. I don't love that. I think we could very easily see that third goal in overtime out of the Ottawa Senators. So back and forth battle here between these two. Definitely a lower scoring game. Now let's look at the Chicago Blackhawks. They are taking on the St. Louis Blues. We have a total again in 5.5 in this one, -122 to the over and +100 to the under. We do have the Chicago Blackhawks on the second night of back-to-back coming in at +205, -255 here for the St. Louis Blues. It's a heck of a lot of juice on the St. Louis Blues team. Sondenblum versus Binghamton. Now, Jordan Binghamton is a stronger goaltender, and we have seen St. Louis coming off that loss versus the Florida Panthers. That was a 3-2 loss on Tuesday. And second night of a back-to-back here for the Chicago Blackhawks. They got a big win last night versus the Predators. I'm so glad you guys were in the chat. You really talked me into the Chicago Blackhawks with everything that we were going back and forth talking about with that team. So ended up getting on Chicago. It was a nice win for them. I think the first period goes over 1.5 goals. I expect both of these teams to come hot out of the gate, find the back of the net. I do think this one goes over the 5.5 as well. And again, the over 5.5 is coming in at -122, but I think you can alt it to over 6.5 at plus money. I really do think this is a 4-3 style game, if not a 6-2 style game for the St. Louis Blues. So I kind of go back and forth with this one. You look at the St. Louis Blues and you look at how they've been able to dominate versus Chicago. Now, the last time we saw them was that New Year's Eve day game outside, the outdoor game. where the St. Louis Blues embarrassed the Chicago Blackhawks in that one. They were able to get that 6-2 win. And I do think we've got a very similar one here. And we've got St. Louis at home, so they actually have even more of an advantage in that last game. We did see Cam Fowler getting those goals. He got 2 goals on the board. And remember, he was like great. He was like plus 800, the defenseman, to get a goal in that game. It was the anniversary of him playing it was the him playing so many games. I can't remember what number that was at, but we were able to get him. When we look at the St. Louis Blues, over the last 3 meetings, they've won the last 3 versus Chicago. They've averaged right on 6 goals in those 3 games versus the Chicago Blackhawks. So I do think this team can get those goals tonight in this one. And they're 8-2 in the last 10. So it's a way to bet the St. Louis Blues. The puck line, though, laying 1.5 plus 106, you should be able to get there, absolutely. But I could very well see Chicago kind of push them in this one on second night of back-to-back, and this be that 3-4 style game. So first period over 1.5, both teams to score in the first period, definitely worth a sprinkle. The over 6.5 as the out line as well. Okay. You are going to lean first period over. Yeah, the Chicago Blackhawks definitely have been strong to that over. 6-3 for Carolina in that game. Carolina could have a big game, that is for sure. We know their home record is absolutely outstanding. Let's move on to the Leafs. The Toronto Maple Leafs are rolling hot right now. They won their last 3. They got the win on Thursday versus the Seattle Kraken. Now they're in Vancouver to take on an inconsistent team at home. 10-7 at home for the Vancouver Canucks. They've won their last 2. Got an overtime win versus the Sharks. Are we impressed by that? No, probably not. Let's look at the current lines on this one if I can find them. It's always fun finding them on busy days like today. Okay, so the Toronto Maple Leafs are a minus 137 favorite here on the road, plus 114 for the Vancouver Canucks. And I know I love home dogs, and I know we're always pretty overpriced here for the Toronto Maple Leafs, but I don't think you're going to slow this team here tonight. Total of 5.5 minus 115. Now, the last time these teams matched up, we did see the Vancouver Canucks roll into Toronto, get that 3-0 win in January. This is a team, the Vancouver Canucks, that, give me the Canucks out there on the road. At home, there's no way I want to touch this team. I do think they're going to have those struggles again today. Demko has been solid in his last 4, but Demko's kind of a Bentley breaks goaltender for me this season, where he can roll so strong and then he comes out in a game and you're like, what the heck did we just see out of Demko? So I think that's one of his games here. But over his last 4, if you want to roll with Demko, it is a 952 save percentage. Joseph Woll coming in on the other side for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Again, the Toronto Maple Leafs have won their last 3. This team also so solid on the road, 14-8-2. I do think, even though they've lost their last 7 in Vancouver, that trend is going to be broken tonight. So the trend is that Vancouver is able to beat Toronto when they're at home. I'm not buying into it. I think William Nylander is playing too strong. Mitch Marner, Austin Matthews, you've got so many playmakers out there. I'll look for William Nylander to light the lamp tonight. You're getting great plus money with him. And I'm still uncertain if Quinn Hughes is going to be in the lineup, so I have to double check that. The defenseman here for the Vancouver Canucks, 14 goals on 45 assists on the season. I do think Quinn Hughes will get in the mix if we see him out there on the ice. Okay, the next game on deck is the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Pittsburgh Penguins, second night of a back-to-back. They're a plus 130 dog here on the road versus the Flyers. The Flyers a minus 160 favorite. What the heck is going on? Why would we lay that kind of juice on the Philadelphia Flyers? I just don't understand it. Yes, I know the Pittsburgh Penguins are on the second night of a back-to-back. Malkin was out of the lineup last night. He's been out of the lineup for a couple. Sid fell out of the lineup with an upper body. Not sure if he'll be back in the lineup, but we saw this Pittsburgh Penguins team really buy into the next man up mentality. I didn't see it coming, you guys. Last night, you guys know I rode with the Rangers, laying the 1.5 on the puck line, expecting them to come out and really shut down the Pittsburgh Penguins team without their 2 superstars in Sidney Crosby and Malkin. That didn't happen. We saw the Penguins come out so strong. I was so impressed with their next man up attitude and their belief in themselves. Now we're getting them at a plus 132 price. Yes, it is the second night of a back-to-back, and I understand not a good suit for a lot of these teams, but I think you look at the Pittsburgh Penguins first period puck line here to come out and start rolling right out of the gate. I also like them for the full game. I do think they're able to get the win. Bloomquist coming into net here for the Penguins, and Urgent coming in for the Flyers. The Flyers are off the loss to the Capitals on Thursday, 4-3, sitting 8th in the Metro. So battle of the Metro here. Penguins sitting 7th in the Metro. The last time these teams matched up, we saw the Pittsburgh Penguins get a huge win. They got that 7-3 win. And when we start to really break down how the Pittsburgh Penguins have done without Malkin, Sidney Crosby is listed day-to-day. We could see him out there on the ice. I hope he's going to be out there on the ice, but when we look at Malcolm, we know he's not going to be. We've actually seen the Penguins go 3-1 versus the Flyers without Malkin in the lineup. So this is a team they've been able to beat without Malkin. I really hope we still get Sid in this one after taking the night off last night. We might not. Not sure what we're going to get out of him in this one, but we have seen strong trends to that under. I kind of look for the Pittsburgh Penguins to hit Urgent hard in this one. I could see them putting up 3 goals themselves, if not 4 on Urgent. So I don't have that faith in Urgent out there. So give me the Penguins to get the win. Lean Penguins first period. Puck line and money line. Absolutely. That is where I'm going. That alt puck line in the first period, laying a half a goal, I think will be a good one. And yeah, I'm with you. The Rangers could take a loss again today. Let's look at that Rangers team. The thing is, the Rangers, so it's interesting. So the Rangers are so juicy out here on the road on the second night of a back-to-back. Let me find the odds on this one. Okay, so they're minus 144. Plus 120 here for the Columbus Blue Jackets, and we got a total of 6.5. Now, Columbus has been so strong at home that I kind of question why they are the underdog in this one. They have the rest advantage. I look at goaltending, though, and I love what Quick has been able to do versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. Again, I think this is a goaltending matchup. You've got Quick versus Elvis. I do think the Rangers will put up those shots on goal because I don't trust Columbus's defense to limit those shots, but with Elvis's record, while he hasn't been able to get the wins, that .919 save percentage versus the New York Rangers in his career and a 2.90 goals against average, so not the greatest, 2-5-1 in 8 games, but I think he can do enough in this one. Columbus has been struggling to score, and if they struggle to score again here, it will be because Jonathan Quick, in net, looking at him versus the Columbus Blue Jackets, he's got a .906 save percentage, a 2.44 goals against average, going 19-9-1 in his career. That's 29 games. I love how strong Quick has been in net this season. Second night of a back-to-back here for the New York Rangers. They lost last night to the Pittsburgh Penguins. It's a weird situation with these teams at home and then coming out here on the road for one game before this break. It kind of leaves me in a little bit of a question on where their motivation will be. Now, this team's sitting 6th in the Metro. They're sitting behind the Columbus Blue Jackets in the Metro, and the Metro is tight. We're looking at the Columbus Blue Jackets looking to make a push to hold some sort of wild card spot out there, sitting 4th. And this team is so strong at home, 17-5-4. I don't get what I'm missing. I don't understand why the books would make them the dog at plus 120. You guys absolutely know that I'm biting here. The last time these teams matched up was back in January. We saw that overtime win by the New York Rangers in OT. 1-0 in OT. It was just absolutely insane out there. We've also got a total of 6.5. So you go, okay, so I've got a strong home team with plus money, and I got a total of 6.5. One last game, they only scored 1 goal. Something smells fishy about this game because the lines look too good to be true. I'll take the under 6.5 coming in at minus 120. Could this game open up a little bit? Yeah, it absolutely could with the Rangers on the second night of back-to-back. But I think Columbus can get the win here. So let me know what you guys are thinking in this one. It's a really interesting game. Okay, the New York Islanders next are taking on the Minnesota Wild. Now, Sorokin played last night. He's still listed as the expected goaltender. Varlamov is injured, so this team definitely having those struggles with goaltending and injuries. We're seeing here the Islanders' second night of back-to-back. They lost last night to the Jets 4-3. 2 goals to 1 in the first. So they won the first period. We saw 3 goals in the first period. I knew right away our total to the under was dead in the water, and that ended up being a 4-3 loss to the Jets for the Isles here. Now, the Minnesota Wild have been struggling to light the lamp. They're coming off a win on Thursday, 2-1 versus the Carolina Hurricanes. Gustafsson is expected to be in goal tonight. So current odds on this game is the Isles are a plus 130 dog here on the road. The Minnesota Wild are minus 156 favorite at home, total 5.5. Now the 5.5 juice to the under. When we look at Gustafsson, he's played 3 games versus the Isles. When we look at that very first game, he got lit up versus the Isles. But in his last 2 meetings versus the Isles, I love what we've seen. In the second game, he took 20 shots on his goal. He allowed 1 goal in. So he stopped 19 of 20. In the second game out there, he got absolutely peppered by the Isles, but he stopped 39 of 40 shots on his goal. I'm looking for that strength out of Gustafsson in this game. Now, because I think the Wild will struggle to score as well. But I'm still concerned about the goaltending, and I'm concerned about the second night of back-to-back. What I'm going to do is look at the Islanders team total. We got a team total for the Isles at 2.5 to the under, coming in at minus 124. I won't be shocked if they only get 1 goal in this game, or if Gustafsson gets a shutout. So I do think this is a really strong game for goaltending here. Will the Wild be able to light the lamp? Could we see the Isles win 1-0? Absolutely. This is all going to depend on if the Wild can answer back, if we do see the Isles score on Gustafsson. It's going to be hard to get past Gustafsson today. We will see tireder legs here for the defense of the Isles, but I think no matter what happens, win or lose, the Isles stay under 2.5 goals at minus 124. Both of these teams are dealing with injuries, especially on the offensive side. Minnesota has won the last 6 meetings against the Isles as well, so they've been really strong versus them. Kyle Palmieri has scored those goals for the Isles as of late, so definitely someone you want to look at. Okay, Jamie, I'll get to your game in just 1 second. Let's run through the Buffalo Sabres versus the Nashville Predators first. The Buffalo Sabres are plus 112 dog here on the road. We have the Nashville Predators at minus 134. This total is sitting at 6.5 straight, minus 110 to either side of the 6.5. Now, this is interesting. So let me again tell you the odds. So plus 112 for Buffalo Sabres team that's on a winning streak, minus 134 for Nashville Predators team that's on a losing streak, and a total of 6.5. The Sabres have won their last 4. Tuesday's win over the Columbus Blue Jackets 3-2. The Nashville Predators have lost their last 6. Last night they lost to the Chicago Blackhawks 6-2. Second night of back-to-back, sitting 7th in the Central, 8th in the Atlantic. Why are we getting so much value on Buffalo? The books are begging you to take the Buffalo Sabres. They've won their last 4, right? We've got a losing team. Losing going into the break is not where the Nashville Predators want to be. And I do think for some reason they're able to pull off this win. Do I want to lay the juice here? No, absolutely. I don't want to touch the Buffalo or the Nashville Predators here. I would rather look at the underdog. The underdog has won 5 of the last 7 meetings, but I can't get there. Just not enough value with how we've seen Buffalo play out there on the road, only winning 1 of their last 3 on the road. I do think we look for the Nashville Predators off an embarrassing loss last night to Chicago to come out strong in that first period. But Buffalo, we know they have the playmakers to come out strong as well. They'll be rolling in with confidence. I'm going to take both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 154. And then I'm out of this game. I want nothing to do with it after that first period. If you just want to take the over 1.5, we know we could see the Nashville Predators score twice on Langican here. And Ewan coming in for the Preds. So this could be a fast-paced, high-scoring first period. Owen Powell has scored a couple of assists in the last 5 games, so he's definitely someone that you want to look at there. But I do think this one just goes over the total. We see both teams score, and I don't want anything to do with the side. And I really don't want anything to do with that total, with the total of 6.5. We know these teams can hit flat spots during their games. I think that first period is your highest scoring period. And then the third, I'm just kind of worried about that second for the impact that we'll see out of these teams in that second period. So if you're betting a second period, I'd take the under 1.5, but the over 1.5 and both teams to score in the first. So that is where I'm going to go with this one. Okay, Jamie, you're looking at the Kings at home against the Ducks. Hell yeah. Tonight, money line or puck line, maybe the over. I know the Kings games, a high scoring overtime wins Stars last night could be tired. What do you think? Okay, let's jump into that game really quick. This is a later game. So this is a 10:30 game. We will go back to the Sharks game before. But looking at this one, we got Gibson versus Kemper. I do think you look at the LA Kings because they are on that second night of a back-to-back first period. First period puck line laying a half a goal here at plus 120. They won the last matchup versus the Ducks 2-1. They're great at home this season, 17-3-1. And they got that win last night versus Dallas at home, 5-4. I think as this game goes on, we could see the Ducks get back into it, but I expect the Kings to come out strong to start. And that's where I believe that they will cover this puck line. We've seen inconsistencies out of the Anaheim Ducks on the road, and I don't trust John Gibson in between the pipes. Now, we have seen the Ducks win their last two meetings. They got the win over the Stars on Tuesday, but the Stars threw that game. It was a 2-1. They were looking ahead in that situation. So the Kings could get tired legs to finish this game. So I would look at Kings first period. They won 8 of the last 10 meetings. So Kevin Fiala, if you didn't see his shot last night on Jake Ottinger, total sniper to the upper side. So fantastic to see him. But Fiala, definitely someone you want to go back to tonight. Byfield on that same line as him, Fiala and Byfield, and then Kempe and Kopitar, definitely where you want to go. So that is the 10:30 game. We'll jump back into the Dallas Stars taking on the San Jose Sharks. So the Dallas Stars and the San Jose Sharks, we've got the Stars coming in as a large favorite, minus 275, plus 220 here for the Sharks, total 6.5. The 6.5 juice to the under at minus 124. Interesting, it's juice to the under in this one because we have seen Dallas really lighting the lamp. They have every ability to come out here and get 4 goals on the board themselves. But will we see the answer back from the San Jose Sharks? This team has lost their last 3, and we know they can push Casey DeSmith and net for the Stars tonight. It's going to be hard for the Sharks to score on him. But you look at Tyler Toffoli, he's rolling hot. Celebrini, they've got home ice advantage here. I do think we'll see a couple goals out of the Sharks and then at least 4 goals out of the Stars. So we're right on that cusp of 6.5, right? Like it's so close to maybe an empty netter getting us to 7 or just staying under. So I don't want to take a full game total. What I'll do is take the Stars team total. Give me the Stars over 3.5 goals. They're the team I trust more. So to get those goals on the board, and yes, this is the second night of a back-to-back. They lost last night to the LA Kings. They were able to put up 4 goals on the LA Kings team that has a much stronger defense here and stronger goaltending than Vanacek and the Sharks. So I am looking for the Stars to come out, play a strong game. And yes, they'll get tired in this one, but I still think they push and rack up those goals. Now, if you want to look at a Sharks team total over 2.5, you're going to have to lay the juice, but I can see them getting 3. I really do think this could be a 4-3 style game. The last time these teams faced off in November, we did see the Stars get that 5-2 win. So it could very easily be so close to that. We've seen the Stars win the last 5 straight versus the Sharks, as well as the last 2 in San Jose. And the last game in San Jose, we actually saw a huge 6-3 win. So we saw it fly nicely over that total. Both of those teams going over easily their team total. So I do think it's another way to go. Okay, we saved the best game to last. My Calgary Flames taking on the Seattle Kraken. Now the Kraken are up plus 114. That makes more sense. Dog here on the road versus Calgary. Minus 137 here for the Calgary Flames, total of 5.5. The juice to the 5.5 is to the over. And while we've seen strong trends to those unders, I'm nervous to take an under 5.5 with Dan Vladar getting the start for the Calgary Flames. Now, it's no huge knock against Dan Vladar, but he just doesn't have the same percentage that we've seen out of Dustin Wolf. But the concern here is this one might not go over because the Seattle Kraken offensively, I really don't trust this team. They've lost the last 3. Thursday's loss was a 3-1 to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Calgary's lost their last 2. They lost Thursday night at home to the Avs. So my mom has been at 1 game without me that Calgary has taken a loss. Calgary needs every single win. They're sitting 5th in the Pacific. They're trying to get a wild card spot here. They need to get this win tonight. They need to come out strong out of the gate. My concern here with the Seattle Kraken is you look at their road record versus their home and home record here for Calgary. And Calgary's been strong at home. The Seattle Kraken are below 500 out there on the road. They're 10-15 on the season on the road. I can't trust this team. They've dropped 5 of their last 6 games, and they've been really struggling to light the lamp. Now, Calgary has been strong versus the Seattle Kraken. They won in Seattle just on the second, 3-2, and that was their second night of a back-to-back. We're coming up a really hard game the night before versus the Red Wings, and they were still able to go into Seattle and get the win. Blake Coleman has been playing really strong, and we know Nazem Kadri at home and Jonathan Huberdeau. Jonathan Huberdeau has been so much more than I expected out of him this season, I guess is a nice way to put it. I didn't expect a lot out of Huberdeau after what we saw last season, and he's really kicked it up a notch. So he seems happier out there on the ice. I would look at Huberdeau, Kadri, and Blake Coleman to really be impactful in this game. Calgary games have been trending to the under versus the Pacific. So I don't want anything to do with the total. I'll look at the Calgary Flames, who won 5 of the last 8, versus the Seattle Kraken to come out strong in that first period and cover that puck line. Look for them to hit Joey Decord right away. First period puck line minus a half a goal coming in at plus 170. You guys know I love that plus money on the plus 170 on the money line. But those are all of the games today, you guys. So, yeah, Frankie, we're definitely rolling with the Leafs. Sorry for everyone for those comments on X. They tend to go to the top of the comments, and the rest of the comments just keep dropping down. So let's make some freaking money out here today on the ice, you guys. 40 minutes in. Let's get this recap done. And then make sure you go over, check out the SportsGrid app. Check out my Madden Quickie talking about the big game tomorrow. Can hardly wait for this one. Just kind of, it's like that weird feeling that after tomorrow, we're going to have no football until preseason. Like, that's a really sad thought out there. So at least we'll have CFL. Let me know if you guys are CFL fans. So that should be coming shortly here. Let's look at the New Jersey Devils, Montreal to kick off this recap. So the New Jersey Devils and the Montreal Canadiens. I don't trust Jake Allen in net for the New Jersey Devils, and I do think Montreal can hit on him today. Now, the problem is I'm not getting enough value on Montreal plus the 1.5. The New Jersey Devils have played really strong in Montreal, being able to record these wins. I do think we will see Montreal go over 2.5 goals. It's juicy at minus 126. And this game go over the total of 5.5 because of this goaltending matchup. So what I'm going to look at here is I'll go into this game taking the over 2.5 for the Montreal Canadiens, and then I will be looking at live betting them if the Devils and when the Devils do go up in this game, coming back in on Montreal plus the 1.5 when we're actually getting value on that puck line. I would look at Jack Hughes for the anytime goal here for the Devils, and then Patrick Laine, Cole Caulfield, Nick Suzuki here for the Montreal Canadiens, and Lane Hudson for the point tonight. Really like him for the point. The Tampa Bay Lightning taking on the Detroit Red Wings. I do think we have a home dog here, totally marking in the Detroit Red Wings. I'm going to grab them with that beautiful plus 125 money is where I got them. Those lines are fluctuating a little bit. You're getting actually more value now. We did see these teams split so far on the season, but I do think the Red Wings with home ice advantage, Alex Leon in goals, should be able to record the win. Dylan Larkin and Lucas Raymond, I tried to combine the two for their points parlayed together tonight. The Utah Hockey Club and the Carolina Hurricanes, you're getting so much value on Utah. I do think they're worth a shot, plus 1.5 at minus 140 with a money line sprinkle. The problem is the plus 1.5 at minus 140 I got is now minus 170, and the money line sprinkles at now plus 164, and it was plus 190 earlier. The Carolina Hurricanes are so strong at home that I really don't want to bet Utah at that price. If I'm getting more value later in this game, I will come back in on Utah plus the 1.5 on the puck line, because I think this can be a 4-3 style win here for the Carolina Hurricanes. Give me the over 5.5. Dylan Guenther back in the lineup here for Utah has been hot, and I would look at him to score again tonight. The problem is jumping in front of Carolina, even though there's value still there in Utah. They've been so strong at home, but these teams trending in the opposite direction right now. We have seen the Canes lose their last 3. So if you're brave enough to put a sprinkle on them, I want more value than plus 164. But if you get it during the game, and then plus the 1.5, I think it's a great way to go. The Vegas Golden Knights and the Boston Bruins. The dogs are barking, you guys. Give me the Boston Bruins at home here at plus 134. They're sitting 6th in the Atlantic, so strong at home, 18-8-3 here. And Vegas has been inconsistent on the road, 13-11-3 on the road this season. They have been playing strong defensively and in goal. I lean to the under in this one, but I'm very cautious with that under. I do think Boston will hit Vegas hard in this one. So Noah Hanovan is someone you want to look at if you want to prop for Vegas Pasternak there for the Boston Bruins is where I would go. The Ottawa Senators versus the Florida Panthers. This is my under game of the day. Brother versus brother, Brady versus Matthew. We know we're going to have that battle, but the battle comes down to me, Allmark versus Bobrovsky. I'm expecting a complete goaltending war between these two. In the last 4 games versus each other, Bobrovsky's had 2 shutouts, and in the other 2 games, he's allowed only 2 goals in both of those. And Allmark versus the Florida Panthers in his last 4 hasn't allowed more than 2 goals in any of those 4 games. So we are going to have a battle. Whoever stays out the penalty box will get the win. Give me the under 5.5 in this one. Give me the first period. I love the first period under 1.5 goals, minus 116, and overtime at plus 310. So you can be a little cautious with that 5.5 because we could see a 3-2 game and then it get pushed to overtime. So then we win the overtime bet, but then we lose on the total. So I think more likely this is 2-2 going to overtime or 1-1 going to overtime, and we've got either a 2-goal game or a 3-goal game. You know what I mean? A 3-goal game or a 5-goal game. So the under 5.5. I don't think it's really 3-3 going into overtime. The Chicago Blackhawks and the St. Louis Blues. Sonderblom versus Binghamton. St. Louis has been strong in a lot of their games. We know that defense has come to play, but I just don't see it in this one. I do think we're going to see both of these teams get up in that first period. I like the first period over 1.5 goals at minus 112. Second night of back-to-back here for the Chicago Blackhawks, and I think they roll in with confidence and momentum after getting a win in their last game. We have seen the St. Louis Blues win their last 3 meetings, including the 6-2 outdoor game versus Chicago. So I do think they could come out and really light the lamp continuously in this game. That's why I'm loving the over 1.5, because we could see 3 goals out of St. Louis in the first period and Chicago not be able to answer back till the second. So I do think this game goes over the 5.5. I would hold it to over 6.5. You could very well see this be a 5-3 win here for St. Louis, a 6-2 win for St. Louis, or a 4-3 win for the St. Louis Blues. Either way, we see this total go over. So that is where I'm going to go. The Toronto Maple Leafs and the Vancouver Canucks. I'm looking for Toronto to continue to roll hot here. They've won their last 3, and I think they can get the win over Vancouver, 3-2 style game. So we're not getting very much value here on the money line, but I think they'll be able to get it done, even though they've lost their last 7 in Vancouver. I just don't trust Demko. Demko's been strong in his last 4. But like I said, bend or break kind of goaltender out there, where I've watched some games where he's just been lit up. Joseph Woll coming in to net. Toronto wants to finish this road trip nice and strong. Quinn Hughes, still question marks if he's going to play tonight. So if Quinn Hughes is out there, he's so strong from the blue line, look for his point tonight. But on the other side, it will be William Nylander, Mitch Marner, and Austin Matthews here for the Leafs, who I do think can get those points on the board. The Pittsburgh Penguins and the Philadelphia Flyers. I still really don't understand why the Flyers could be this big of a favorite, even at home, versus a Penguins team off their second night of back-to-back after getting the win. I'm going to roll with the Predators and that plus money, even though they are without Malkin for sure. But this team has played the Flyers strong without Malkin in the lineup. We've seen them go 3-1 without Malkin in the lineup in their last 4 in that situation versus the Flyers. And then Sid, still a question mark. I really hope he's going to be out there on the ice. Upper body injury, so he sat out of the game in that win last night over the Rangers. I do think the Penguins are just being so strong versus the Flyers, going 10-3 in the last 13 meetings. The next man up mentality worked last night. Let's roll with it to work again tonight. The New York Rangers and the Columbus Blue Jackets. Quick has been Stella, and I'm talking absolutely Stella between the pipes. He's got great numbers versus Columbus, but Elvis does have really solid numbers versus the Rangers as well. The Blue Jackets have struggled to score, but I look at the Jackets and I look at their ability at home. This team's sitting 17-5-4 at home, and then we have a Rangers team on the second night of a back-to-back. Even though it's quick, I do think Columbus has the opportunity of pulling off the win. Give me the Columbus Blue Jackets here with that plus money on the money line. The last time these teams matched up, we did see that defensive battle. I can see that defensive battle coming to play goaltending battle as well in this one, but I'll take a chance on the home team with that plus money tonight. Now the Isles versus the Minnesota Wild. This one's going to rely on Gustafsson. If you can get Gustafsson save shots on goal, he's not confirmed yet. at even 29.5. I would look for it to go over. I expect the Isles to put those shots up on him. But in his last 3 games, he got lit up in the one versus the Isles. In the last 2, 19 of 20 in that game too that he was able to save. And in the last game out there, 39 of 40 shots on his net. So I'm looking for Gustafsson to have a really strong day. Look for the Isles team total to go under 2.5, win or lose. I don't think they score 3 goals. So under 2.5 here for the Isles at -124. The Buffalo Sabres and the Nashville Predators. I hate the line on this game, right? We've got a Nashville team lost to last 6. Now they want us to lay juice on them versus a Buffalo team that has been trending in the right direction. I'm looking for both these teams to come out strong out of the gate. Give me both teams to score in the first period at +154. The Dallas Stars versus the San Jose Sharks. I do think the Dallas Stars are going to be able to light the lamp. I know they're on the second night of a back-to-back here after taking that loss to the LA Kings, but I think that brings them frustration coming out in the first period. Both of these teams have the ability to light the lamp in the first period. I'll take the over 1.5 in the first period instead of the both teams to score. I do think the Stars can put up 4 goals in this game. The last time they were in San Jose, they put up 6. The Sharks put up 3. Tyler Toffoli has been scoring those goals out there for the Sharks. Jason Robinson, Wyatt Johnson, your playmakers for the Stars. But give me the Stars team total over 3.5. The Seattle Kraken versus the Calgary Flames. Look for Calgary to have a big night here. I want them first period. First period puck line laying 0.5 goal for the Calgary Flames at +170. Look at Huberdeau, look at Nazem Kadri and Blake Coleman to be able to get those points on the board. And with Seattle, I just don't trust this team offensively. They have not been playing well on the road, 10-15 on the road this season, and they've dropped 5 of their last 6 games. So I can't get behind Seattle, especially when Calgary rolled into Seattle on the second night of back-to-back of a really tough game versus the Red Wings. And we're able to get a 3-2 win. I think this game is very similar. Don't want to touch the total, though, here. We know Calgary has a better power play unit, but Dan Vladar, I don't have as much faith in to keep this one to the under. Last but not least, the Anaheim Ducks versus the LA Kings. Give me the Kings to start off this game hot. They're coming in with momentum off the win last night. They've won their last 3 games now. Darcy Kemper in net. John Gibson in net here for the Anaheim Ducks. And while I like Troy Terry and a lot of their playmakers here for the Ducks, this is a young, scrappy team that never says die. This is a Vegas or a LA Kings team that is sitting 17-3-1 at home this season. They won that last matchup in November 2-1, and they've won 8 of the last 9. So give me the Kings first period puck line, laying 0.5 goal at +120. In case we get tired legs out of the Kings at the end and the Ducks just don't go away, they let them hang around. So Kevin Fiala for the anytime goal again. He was an absolute sniper last night on Jake Ottinger. I think he will light the lamp huge on John Gibson here. So Byfield, I'd look at Fiala and Byfield for their points parlayed together, and then Kempe and Kopitar for their points parlayed together as well. So you guys, that is it for everything. I'm just going to look quickly at your comments here, but I appreciate you guys so much for being here. Yes, we can quickly build that anytime goal parlay for sure. Just let me jump into the rest of the comments. I like where you're going with that. I think it would be a nice one to look at their shots on goal to the over. Let me know what numbers you're getting. The shots on goal, sometimes I feel like they juice or they put them up too high at a 3.5. We're seeing the majority of a lot of these players getting right on that number of 3. Sometimes hard to get that 4th shot, especially with how the books register what is actually a shot. And those things can change. So I don't know about you guys. There's been a couple games where I've got the money and the money's being taken back pretty quick because they have adjusted it. Lean on the Canadians team total over 2.5. Yeah, I love the team total over 2.5 in the live bet for the puck line there. I think that is a great way to go, Kev. Yeah, anytime goal. Let's go on that. First, the lean on Larkin +180 Caulfield. Yeah, I like where you're going. Braden Point, can come out strong for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Let's just quickly build that same game, or not same game, long shot parlay here with those points. So the first game here, New Jersey versus Montreal. Okay, let's have a quick look at this for the points and where we're getting value. Jack Hughes is -1.3 or -310. That is where my concern was kind of coming into this one. I'm going to put Lane Hudson for the point. for Montreal. I do think he continues to roll hot. Looking at Tampa and Detroit, let's quickly look at the points here. We do have goalie props in this. Alex Leon over 25.5 save shots on goal. Sign me up all day for the over 25.5 save shots on goal for Alex Leon. If the Red Wings do pull off the win here at home, he has to go over that. Vasilevsky coming in at 23.5 to the over at minus 132. I'm going to stay off Vas, but I think he goes over it. I just don't like the juice. But Alex Leon, 25.5. Let's continue with the long shot parlay here for the points. Looking at Tampa, Braden Point, you guys threw him out. He's minus 200 though. Dylan Larkin and Raymond, I really love what we're seeing out of the Red Wings. I'm going to just put Larkin in there. Larkin coming in at minus 174. And that's the team I think will be able to get the win. When we roll with Utah, Dylan Guenther coming back has been so strong for Utah, and I do think he gets a point on the board. That's coming in at minus 125. I'm going to stay off the Carolina side. Call me crazy. I know Carolina will be able to put some goals up, but I just don't like the juice. When we look at Boston here versus Vegas, Thomas Hertl, interesting for Vegas. I'm going to stay off of it, though. I'm going to look at Brad Marchand to come out nice and strong versus Vegas Golden Knights. He normally stands on his head. The New York Rangers and the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, I want someone from Columbus here. We know Panarin's being strong and JT Miller's being strong for the Rangers. I'm going to take Adam Fantilli, though, for the Columbus Blue Jackets. I think they have every ability to pull off the win. Going down to the Leafs and the Canucks, I am going to stay off that one in case we might get an under. I still think that goes over. The Ottawa Senators and the Florida Panthers, I definitely think that one's going under that total. I'm going to stay off the Penguins and the Flyers as well. The Chicago Blackhawks and the St. Louis Blues, I don't want to really isolate a player there. Same with the Isles and the Wild. The Preds and the Sabres, yeah. And then the Sharks and the Stars. Let's throw in Tyler Toffoli. I do think Tyler Toffoli comes out nice and strong in this one. And we're getting him at minus 115. So a 6-legger, you guys. This is coming in at plus 30.52. You ready? Lane Hudson for the point for the Montreal Canadiens. Dylan Larkin for the point for the Detroit Red Wings. Dylan Guenther for the point for the Utah Hockey Club. Brad Marchand for the point for the Boston Bruins. Adam Fantilli for the Columbus Blue Jackets. And Tyler Toffoli for the San Jose Sharks. Again, 6 legs plus 30.52. I'll read that off one more time, you guys. That is Lane Hudson from Montreal. Dylan Larkin from the Red Wings. Dylan Guenther from the Utah Hockey Club, Brad Marchand from the Boston Bruins, Adam Fantilli from the Columbus Blue Jackets, and Tyler Toffoli from the San Jose Sharks. Each of those guys for the point tonight coming in parlayed 6 legs together at plus 30.52. So that is where I'm going to go, you guys. I wish you guys all the best in all of your bets tonight. And I hope you make some freaking money out there. Just trying to read your comments. That's exactly why I had exactly what you had. I hope you had some winners out there. I'm not sure where you're going with that. Predators versus Flyers. Okay. The Predators versus the Flyers. Did I say Predators? It's the Penguins versus the Flyers. Maybe I said Predators. Sorry about that, you guys. Anyway, all the best in all of your bets. Let's make some freaking money out there on the ice. I'm excited for today's slate. Now, I am live on the grid. I'm live on the grid from 4 o'clock Eastern to 8 p.m. So make sure you come over and join myself and Scott Wetzel. We'll be talking about everything happening, live betting these games out there on the ice, talking about tomorrow's Super Bowl game, as well as today's college basketball and NBA slate. So you don't want to miss the show. Plenty of live betting opportunities that we'll be jumping into. We also have a loaded guest list today of people coming on to talk with us. And of course, we will be jumping into the big game, everything I'm liking. Now, if you're looking for my Madden Quickie, it will be up on the SportsGrid app for tomorrow's big game as well. So go on over, check it out, you guys. I appreciate you so very much. I will see you tomorrow, noon Eastern, only 2 games. We'll get in and out of the show so quick tomorrow so that you can get ready for tomorrow's Super Bowl game. But still get your bets in on the ice. There's always an opportunity to make some money. And just because it's the Super Bowl doesn't mean we can't make money on the ice as well. You guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Hit some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots on goal for some of these goalies.